Good morning, my friends. Today is Thursday, it's 10 a.m. So, for those of you that saw, I did an event for the first time. We did it. Look, the event we scheduled a couple days ago. We called it 10 Minutes with Tara. This is episode 6, I think I was writing down and looking in my notes. And this is the week that we talk about 1 year ago. We're in August of 2020. I just pulled it up and printed it off and had a look at all the good things. And this was the month that we did He Left the 99 to Rescue Me. This was one of our most popular t-shirts. This was one that I remember Tim and I went on a date for our anniversary, but everything was still kind of like shut down. It was our 19th anniversary. So we went out for the day, and all we did was drive around in our vehicle. Like, I don't even think restaurants were open. I wanted to go to Black Dog Salvage because it's a dream of mine to add a salvage component besides cars. I want to do something like that here on the property that we're purchasing. So I love just going there to look and see all the things that are happening. And it was I love Black Dog Salvage. We had such a wonderful time. We got coffee to go and just drove around. It was a beautiful day. And we walked the whole place and just dreamed and, just had a day away from the kids. I can't even remember where we went to eat because I don't even think restaurants were open at that time. But while Tim was driving, I started getting messages from friends. And then messages on Facebook from strangers, on our page. And it was, "Hey Tara, I just saw your t-shirt at the coffee shop. Are you making any more of those? Like, where can I buy those? How can I get that?" I had just put the display up for this He Left the 99. I was getting text messages. Kylie at the Whole Bean was texting me saying, "Tara, you got to do something about these shirts. People keep asking me, like, how can I get these? Like, how can I do it?" I had never had that before, right? We were just a few months into it. I still really didn't know what I was doing. I cannot believe I design t-shirts and shop online for a living. I mean, I don't exactly get paid for it, but I mean, that's beside the point. Like, that's what I do for my job, right? To grow this store. And so to be a few months into it and to be getting these messages, they just started pouring in. And I was like, what is even happening? And this was the first month we actually decided to go ahead with a second order because I was trying to decide, do we keep it exclusive and do we just say, sorry, if you're not in the club, you don't get it? That exclusivity, trying to get people to join, which I love that tactic, but it's kind of not me. And maybe we'll do it in the future as I get stronger, get better, I don't know, decide that that's the way we have to go. But in the meantime, I'm more like, yeah, everybody who can come, or I don't want you to miss out, so do this. And so I talked with a lot of the people in our t-shirt group, and their heart was so like, hey, if you can sell a t-shirt, sell a t-shirt, like, go for it. So I thought, okay, I'll try this month and I'll see what happens. So we did a whole nother order. It wasn't as big. We did a pre-order for a few days, so that helped put some money in there. And then I finally placed the order, but it was less than what I would have done anyway. So the price was higher. So there was like, we weren't even hardly making any money. But there were even people in church. She was like, I'll buy however many you need to make the minimum. I mean, she was just amazing. And so we were working out all of that. The t-shirt company made a mistake with the first order coming in, and they made them heathered, which actually I do love, and there's still a few left in the store, just medium and maybe a small and maybe a large. I'm not sure, and those are $20 until we get rid of them because there's just a couple of them left. But I couldn't sell the heathered ones because I marketed military green. So what happened was they had made a mistake in the order and just printed them wrong. So they had to redo them. So it was super hassle. It was a little bit frustrating. It was a lot of work to just crank out a few more t-shirts. So I sat on that for a while. But I could not believe the response. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, I made a shirt that people want to wear. I made a shirt that people love, like that they can resonate with. And again, we were still coming off the coattails of what had happened with George Floyd. We were still coming off and then there was just riots everywhere at that time. Political unrest was super big. I mean, there was just stuff everywhere. And so to focus on a verse, he left the 99 to rescue me. I think it just helped us remember, like in all the chaos and all the confusion and all the hard things, we can remember that one truth, that God did that for us. Like that's what it means for him to find one soul. And so anyways, that was so special for me. That was the memories that I had, surrounding that t-shirt. It was like this aha moment, because I was holding out on this shirt several years ago when we were still in the middle of foster care. I bought a shirt online from a Facebook ad. It was like a mustard color, and it was a script that said he left the 99 to rescue me. And I wore that shirt day in, day out. I still have it. It has a couple bleach stains on it, but I still love it because it was my reminder how far I was going to bring Liam to safety, whether that looked at like reunification, whether that looked like adoption. Like it was so unknown for so long, and the only truth I could remind myself was that reminder that that's what Jesus did for me. He left the 99 to come and rescue me. So that was the principle I was going to live by, even when times were hard. So to see this shirt take off, my inspiration piece from years ago, it was like this seed that had been dormant for so long had finally come to life. And the response we got was just so amazing. So that's what I'm sharing with you today. It is so exciting. So the verse comes straight from Matthew. Can you see my shirt? 18:12. Maybe got to work on our camera skills, but Matthew 18:12, right on the shirt, it tells us, "How think ye, if a man has 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, does he not leave the 99 and go into the mountains and seek that which is gone astray?" Matthew 18:12. So this is just such a loaded verse, loaded, what do you call it? I'll just read the thoughts on on the verse that I wrote on the devotional that day. We're going to start there because I got to get myself. I'm so emotional from looking at all those. I did a blast from the past, and I was sharing screenshots. If you go on my Insta stories, I had so many screenshots, and I went back to a year ago, who we were then, what we were doing then. The selfies people were sending me are just so precious. And realizing what God has done, it's just so emotional sometimes. So I wrote, "Several years ago, I ordered my very first t-shirt online, and it read, 'He left the 99 to rescue me.' Looking back now, it planted a seed in my heart to create beautiful shirts that remind us who we are in Christ. I wore that shirt all through our foster care days, reminding myself the price that Jesus paid for even the lowest of lives and ugliest of sinners. And honestly, some of the things I saw in my heart during that time reminded me very clearly that I was the chief of them all. Through it all, he saw me through, and today I raise a victory cry to you all, that it is worth it, and it is the will of God, and it is the work of God to sometimes do the crazy things that don't make sense and go after that one lost soul. If you look through the world's eyes, we gave up so much and endured such heartache for children that had nothing to do with us. But God says if we are to be like him and live like the Good Shepherd, we must go after the ones who are lost and alone and have gone astray. When we do that, we know he will move on our behalf." And I think I highlighted it. What I was trying to put into words is here in the devotional today is that I don't know if you guys struggle with this, but I sometimes like to analyze where people are at before I decide if I'm going to help them or not. And I'm not talking about like being a wise steward and like analyzing, do we have the money to give, or what can I do to help this situation? Not something like that. Sorry, I got my hair did yesterday and I'm still trying to make sure it looks good. It's so exciting. But I'm not used to seeing myself on camera, so it's kind of weird. So, what I'm trying to say is like, if I would look at a situation and be like, well, they don't deserve it because they should have X, Y, and Z, or they should have known better, or they did this to themselves and now they're just, they made their bed so they have to lay in it. And I'm not saying that there's a time and a place for those principles, or we do have to apply wisdom in our lives. But I'm talking about when you read the Word of God and you hear the Word of God and you know that it's a verse that you need to go to. I think of the one where we shared where, Jesus asked Peter so many times, Peter, do you love me? Peter, do you love me? And of course, every time Peter's like, yes, I love you, Lord. Yes, I love. And all Jesus would say was then feed my sheep. And 3 times he did that till Peter was finally like, Lord, you know that I love you. Like, it was starting to hurt Peter that Jesus kept asking him, like, do you love me? Like, of course I love you, Lord. Haven't I done all these things? And Jesus kept responding, then feed my sheep. Feed my sheep. And Peter finally said, well, what about John? I'm totally paraphrasing here. Because here's John. Looks like he just gets to be the favorite and, lay his head on Jesus' chest, and they're just all chumsy, and he's always the one that gets to go with him wherever. Maybe seemed unfair, like Peter's doing the dirty work, Peter's the loudmouth, he gets thrown under the bus, but he's the one who walks on water, and then he's the one that falls. So Peter's here going like, I've done this in my life. I've done this to show you. I do love you. Of course I love you. Jesus, you know everything. You know I love you. And Jesus responded, feed my sheep. And I think if we just stop there, we see a sheep that needs something, we feed them if we can. And that's the end of the story. You don't have to analyze. We don't have to do anything. Because the next thing that Jesus said to Peter, when Peter said, what about John? What about John? What about John? Jesus looks at him and he says, what is it to you? Whatever John does. Like, if John lives forever, is it any of your business? And we use that verse in our house, actually, when our kids are being kind of nosy and naughty and like, well, why doesn't she have to do it? Or what about him? And we just say, none ya. It is none your business what somebody else is doing. All you have to do is what God wants you to do. All you're responsible for is what God tells you to do. And if you have that revelation of a good shepherd and you have that image in your mind, what's he even say? Does that good shepherd not leave the 99 and go into the mountains? That doesn't sound like fun, guys. That doesn't sound like where there's creature comforts, where there's a soaking tub, where there's a heating pad, where there is good food. It doesn't sound like a vacation mountain resort to me. If we're going in the mountains and we're going, just like Jesus said, where did the sheep go? He went off in the mountains. He doesn't know what he's doing. He probably just went after something. Would he go after something shiny? Did he get distracted? But when you're alone, you're susceptible to the elements, to the wolves, to the enemy. Somebody's just going to come and steal you and add you to their flock. I mean, when you're out there alone by yourself, that's when you need someone to rescue you. So don't be surprised if God calls you to do something and he says, go to the mountains. Like, it's not going to be comfortable, guys. It's going to be hard. You're going to be exposed to the elements. You're going to be out in the world. You're going to get cold. You're going to get hungry. You're going to get tired. You're going to get frustrated. That's what the Good Shepherd does. And it doesn't even make sense to the world. So don't try to think that this is going to make sense to people that don't have this verse for their life, that don't have a revelation on this. It's not going to make sense to say, you have 99. Look at everything you have. Like, why would you go off after one? You're going to leave those 99? Like, you're going to leave them exposed? No, they're safe. You know they're safe. Maybe you get someone to watch them for you. Maybe you just keep an eye on them and know, but you're going off into the mountain to go find that one. And so many times we do this thing in our heads. We talk ourselves out of doing what God has called us to do. We talk ourselves out of going into the mountain. Well, I might get hurt. My kids might get hurt. Good morning, Mackenzie. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate you so much. Maybe it'll cost too much. Maybe it will hurt too much. Maybe I'll get too tired. Maybe I'll like all this. We play this dialogue in our heads that if I do this, then I'm gonna have to give up that. Yeah, yeah, you might have to. Like Tim literally fired me from my job in the shop. Like I helped him build that business from the ground up, and we got into foster care, and I was gone. If I was even there physically, I was not there mentally. And I was dropping the ball on our team. I was dropping the ball on our finances. I was dropping the ball on paying bills left and right because, first of all, there were meetings and visits and medicine and doctors and family drama and caseworkers and all the things, never mind all the other kids I had at home. And Tim finally, when I was even looking, like we did this for like a year, and our team was so graceful to me. They would like gently remind me, like, that thing I asked you about like weeks ago. Do you think you could get that done? Do you think, it's kind of making my life miserable? Do you think you could take care of that? They were so understanding and so supportive, but I was dropping the ball. And it got to this place where, we knew we were headed into adoption, and there were two of them now. And I had 6 kids at home between the ages of 6 and 16. And there was trauma, and there was grief, and there was appointments. So even if I was juggling my original 4 before, and we were like in a good rhythm, these kids needed me at home. All of them. Our family needed to heal. We needed to recover. They needed a mom that was available. And if I was tied down to the day-to-day life at TNT, there was no way I was going to be able to be available for them. I wasn't serving them well, and I wasn't serving my children well and my family, myself. I knew every day I was falling short, and there's only so many days that you're falling short before you finally actually feel like I might actually be the failure. But I knew I was doing what God told me to. So then Tim steps in, sits me down so nicely in the office one day, and he's like, babe, I just need you to know, like, I don't want you to be in this business anymore. I think it was like pretty close to his exact words. Like, you can't do this job anymore. And already people had stepped in, and we had trained Alicia for years, and she was taking on more and more responsibility. Like, God made a way for this transition to happen, but there had to be that physical moment in time where he just looked at me and said, like, you cannot be in the day-to-day operations. And what he meant was, and he clarified later, guys speak with that big blue megaphone, and I heard with my pink earphones, and I'm like, don't lose it. Don't take this personally. Like, get the whole picture, get the big picture. And what he was saying was, I want you to be free to do what you need to do. Whether that was kids, whether that was business, whether that was anything like that. For 18 years, 17, 18 years at that point, I had served my family completely. I had stayed home with my babies while getting a babysitter, juggling school schedules, running into the office and working in the office in this amount of time, paid those taxes, fixed those books, did journal entries, did HR if somebody needed help. I was trying to set things up for 17, 18 years. And our business had grown to a place that I didn't have to do that anymore. We had people to do it, and they did it better than I did because that was their dedicated job. And it was time for me to let go of something that God had told me to do years ago and figure out what the next thing was. And I struggle with that so bad. I am a super responsible person. You ever hear like SRP? Dedicated, devotional, like I'm going to do the thing. And I'm going to do it until I die. And it was really hard for me to process and register that possibly in my lifetime one season would come to an end and I would have to start another one. And the hardest part for me that I struggled with, I didn't know what that looked like. I had no idea what that new thing was going to be. And I'm like, I can't just stay home. I can't just sit there and be available for my kids and go from one trauma to another, one grief to another, one drama to another. That I am not built to do that. I could not even find rest in that. I find my rest in creativity. I find my rest in moving on out. Maybe if our house was bigger and I actually had a room to go to where I wouldn't hear all the things, or a place I could go that just didn't remind me. But being at home all the time was not good for me. And I panicked and I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I just didn't know what the new thing was. And I'm like, Lord, what is it? What is it? What is it? It took over a year of learning online, teaching online, reading, blogging, listening to podcasts, as I'm figuring out this new normal of how much my kids need. The therapy doesn't end. Like, the appointments ended once we got into, like, once the adoption day was over and we closed our home. Yes, caseworkers stopped coming to our home. Yes, counseling was stopping. And then we hit COVID and the whole world stopped. But I still needed something to do in my life outside of trauma and grief and hard things, because my kids are so important to me. But I want them to know that my life does not revolve around them. I want them to know that my life revolves around what God called me to do. Because if they grow up thinking that they are the thing that my life revolves around, yes, they are important, and will I drop anything for them if they need it? 100%. But I will not let them think that they are completely my only purpose in life, because what am I setting them up for? And then what am I setting myself up for? They're going to need to grow. They're going to need to move on. There's going to be times that they fail. There's going to be times they need to know it's Jesus. It's not me. And I want them to know that the call of God on their life and what God is calling them to do is the most important thing that they will ever do. And it can be both and. It can be both and. Is motherhood precious and sacred and holy? 100%. But if you look at the Proverbs 31 woman, read those verses that King Lemuel's mother was speaking to him about what an amazing woman is about. And she told him that woman is a marketplace mover. She manages her household well. She manages servants well. She's prepared. She does the things. It is so much more about business and in the community and running a family. And I think we can get so focused on Pinterest, or like wanting to make sure all of our friends in church think that we're, taking care of our kids and they're the most precious thing in the whole world. Yes, they are. Are they a gift? Yes. Are they the best gift? Yeah, they are, but they're the hardest thing you're ever going to do. And if we don't have that center of like Jesus trumps everything, we're teaching them that they should have a world that revolves around them. And I had to make some hard lines in my life, because I had gravitated so much to saving my kids, safety for my kids, healing my kids, to the point that I was breaking and broken. And I'm still figuring that out, years on the other side of this, a year and a half. I had never learned how to take care of myself. I had never learned to make myself a priority. And when we get into that place that we're constantly in survival, that only works for a moment, a season. You can only be in survival mode for so long. You guys, even in the military, they go on shifts. Even in the military, they know if that soldier stays on the front lines too long, stays in the trenches too long, bad things happen to your mind. There's a reason for that. And it was never God's intention for us to stay in that place, in that point of time, in that moment of time for so long. It was never God's intention. Do we have to be obedient? Yes. Do we say yes to hard things? Yes. Do we say yes to what He's calling us to do? Yes, we should. But when you go on the mountain and you go after that sheep, what do? You bring it back into the fold. You bring it back to the flock. You bring it off the mountain into the group where it's safe, where it's secure, where it's protected, where you are safe and secure and protected. So this is my encouragement to you. Don't be afraid of doing the hard things, guys. God is not this wicked taskmaster who's going to be like, do more. It has to hurt more. Do it harder. Do it better. You don't get an extra purple heart if your job was harder than somebody else's. I mean, does he see? Yeah, but if you take on something that's not for you and you make it this martyr thing, he's not in that. He doesn't need that. He needs your sacrifice. Yeah, I had to give up one job to take on another. That's totally different. That's what he was calling me to do. My husband knew it. I knew it. Everybody around me knew it. It was just hard and scary. And look at now. Like now I'm telling you about a shirt a year ago, a revelation that I had, that God let me design a t-shirt and buy beautiful things to put in an online store in the hopes of securing a brick and mortar store so we can change lives in the community. We can give jobs to people in our local community. We can let these women in this program have a place to breathe and heal and have creativity. Can you imagine the staff in our store are these Holy Ghost Christian filled women who know what it's like to go through stuff, and they show up and their job every day is to run a beautiful store and to help these broken women find their gift, find their calling, heal with praise and worship music, and heal by learning how to make a cup of coffee, heal by designing shirts. I hope someday these women in the program are designing these shirts, and the shirts that you wear are revelation on what they have gone through and what God has done in them. That's what God's doing with a bunch of t-shirts. That's what God is doing with a bunch of jewelry. He can use it all, guys. It's right here. The mission field is right here. Changing the world is right here. It doesn't have to be so bad all the time. We don't have to believe the lie that serving God, I could never do what she's doing. You're not supposed to. You are not supposed to. You're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, what God's putting on your heart, what God has given you, the people that God has given you. Just do that. Just do that. Because there's days just doing that is going to be hard. There's seasons it's going to be hard. Don't take on any more, but don't do any less either. If you see that one in your world, in your circle, and you go out for that one, that's the thing. Cayenne, I love you. Thank you for being here this morning. If I could encourage you at all, what are you doing? You are doing God's work. Drew always teases us when he's doing, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm like, what are you doing? It looks like he has his face in his phone, right? He's like, I'm doing God's work. He cut the rolls at Christmas dinner, at our family dinner with my parents and my family at Christmas time, and he said he was doing God's work for weeks after that. Cayenne, you are doing a lot more than cutting the hard rolls for dinner, and I'm just praying for you and your beautiful new babies and the things that God is going to do in your life and all the ways. Just heal. You are doing what you are called to do right in front of you. You are doing what God wants you to do right in front of you. No more, no less. You already have plenty on your plate. Plenty on your plate. And that is well pleasing to Him. That's it. That's the gospel. That's what a good father does. A good father only gives his kids enough to challenge them, what's good for them, and then he lets them play. My kids do their chores. I'm like, go have some fun. You deserve it. If you do X, Y, and Z, you can go in the pool. If we do this, I can make an awesome dinner. If we do this goal this month, we can go to the Science Museum. We can go to the zoo. We can go visit Grammy. That's what a good father does. He does not put something on his children that is too hard. So maybe just check yourself. Yeah, we're going to see. Yeah, you're doing God's work. Hold on to that. You are. You are. When we go in the mountain, yeah, it's going to be hard. But you'll come back. You better come back. You better bring that sheep back with you. That's the job of a good shepherd. So the prayer I prayed anyways that month, that week when we printed off this devotional, I just said, Father, I thank you that you see, that you use the foolish things of this world to confound the wise, and that miracles are activated as we obey your word and your example. Lord, help us to see that you love the one who is lost and astray, and give us the courage to leave the 99 and go find that one that you gave your life for, just like you did for me. And the challenge we had that week, or that month, to reach out to a lost soul or one that has gone astray and commit to praying for them each day and reaching out to them as you would see best how to show them you care. I will not be afraid of the big scary things God may show me I need to do for one of his lost and lonely lives, and I will not shush the still small voice and the seemingly small things I may think to do either. How important, guys. Don't analyze. It's none of your business how they got there. I mean, someone's down in a hole and you're going to be like, wow, I mean, you didn't see the signs. You weren't paying attention. That's why you fell in the hole. I mean, if somebody did that to you, would you ever want to sign up for that club? No. No, we don't ask questions. The first responders show up on the scene and be like, so, have you been taking care of yourself lately? Did you look before you turned left and that car T-boned you? Did you pay attention when you were taking your medicine and realize that, it was gonna conflict? I mean, do they do that? No. Just be a first responder. Just do the next right thing. Just show up. Just do the thing that God wants you to do. Just do the next right thing. That's what he did for you to get you where you were at. Don't be analyzing. You'll drive yourself crazy. Just do it and don't think about it. Okay, does it cost a little more than you planned on? You're fine. You can have peanut butter and jelly for a week. You'll be okay. Did it make you too tired? Okay, take a nap. You'll be fine. Go to bed early. Shut your phone off for a night or two. You'll be fine. You'll be okay. That's the kind of God that we serve. You'll be okay. You get dirty, you can take a shower. You'll be okay. Stop being so afraid to help people at your own expense. Go on the mountain. Go check it out. Maybe it won't rain on you. Maybe it's not as cold as you think. Bring a coat. Pack a lunch. Bring some water. You'll be okay. And when you don't have to go on the mountain, throw a party. Have yourself some fun. I've made more appointments for myself this year than I have in the last 5. Should I have done it sooner? Yes. Do I wish I had? Yes. Was I doing the best I could? Yes. Take care of yourself, guys. It's the only way you can pour out. Do the next right thing. That's how simple it is to serve the Lord. I'm probably rambling at this point. I'm sorry if it's beyond boring and all the things. I guess I just went off with what's going on in my heart. But he left the 99 to rescue me. It's that simple. So if you're in a mountain season and God's called you to do some hard things, let me know so I can pray for you. Don't go it alone. And if you're in that season where you're just watching your sheep and you can sit under a shade tree and eat your lunch in peace and quiet, own it. Love it. Enjoy it. Soak it up. It's a gift. Don't give your gift away. Breathe. Enjoy it. There's no shame in that. Who wants to serve a God who's a wicked taskmaster? Be the best example of living your best life here and now, walking in obedience and enjoying the gifts and the fruit of the land. You can do both. It's a both and. So if I leave you with anything today, he left the 99. You guys, we have so many amazing things going on. There are a few more of those left in the store. Like I said, if you never got a chance to get the heathered green, that's all we have left. Grab those. Thank you, Cayenne. Appreciate you. We do have the Mommy and Me going on just until this weekend. We are going to start offering the youth sizes, but we are only doing it for $15 for this month only. The price is going up next month. So if you want youth sizes, if you have teenagers, I don't care who you give it to. Join. If you want to add somebody, it's $15 this month only. That price will lock in. We have sizes youth small, which is a 6'8", all the way through adult large. So if you want to spoil your sister, you want your best friend, you can cancel at any time, guys. But if you want to get in on it and get that extra whatever, that's why we're doing it. We're trying to get our numbers up so we can hit that next price point, so we get greater savings on those t-shirts. And it's a way to bless you in the club. You get a mommy and me set, a sister set, mother daughter, whatever you want to call it, for $42 total. 2 shirts, 2 devotionals, 2 verses with frames, free shipping for $27 plus $15, so $42. And you can add as many of those add-ons as you want. But we're closing on Saturday, actually Sunday, because there's no point in closing the cart on Sunday when we can't get the order until Monday. So if you have friends that love that mommy and me option, send it to them. Share with them what it is to leave the 99. Just do what you can, guys. If you want to join us for a month, we'd love to have you. If you want 2 months, we'd love to have you. If you want to cancel anytime, we just want you on board. We just want you to be a part. We love you. We appreciate you. I cannot do any of this without my people cheering me on and showing up and doing all the things. But if I could encourage you today, guys, he's in it. He's in the waiting. He's in the dark season. He's in the mountain. He's in the valley. And he's with you in the shade tree. Like, just go enjoy your lunch. I hope that you know that I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you. And I'll see you on Tuesday, hopefully with an amazing report of an awesome launch. And we gained so many people this month. You're so welcome to join us. We would love to have you, and my people that are already in there. I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. It makes a way for me to do this, for me to get on social media and talk about Jesus and design t-shirts and buy beautiful things to put in the store. I mean, what kind of a life is this? Yeah, I don't quite get paid for it or anything like that, but that's beside the point. That's what happens when you get fired. I guess that's the way it is. You guys, appreciate you so much. Love you, Mackenzie. I'm still praying for you guys every day. I know it's a lot. Just do the next right thing. Just do what's right in front of you. You're doing that. Do you know that it's God's work when you even take your kids to go play with some dogs that are missing their owner? That's what Jesus would do. So just rest in that. No more, no less. You're doing God's work. Love you guys so much, and we'll see you on Tuesday.